Hi, I'm Mary B. Safrit, and welcome to the Unsuitable podcast. Today you're going to hear from my friend Rachel Scola. I met her at church. She is hilarious. She works in background casting for a production company, and she's hilarious, and I'm really excited for y'all to hear from her. So, here you go. Hi, Rachel. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Mary. I thought we were recording for 5 minutes before we started recording,
Nope,
so it's all
now.
good.
Just now. Yep.
We're
so
good.
we don't
We're
have to
good.
worry about leading in to get you comfortable with the fact that we're recording, because
Perfect.
it's been a reverse psychology on my part. Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. I mean, thanks for having me, I should say. We are in your home.
We are, yes.
Well, I'm really excited for our conversation. So why don't we dive right in?
Let's dive in.
All right.
I'll try to actually speak instead of just nodding. I keep nodding.
Yeah.
So
We can't hear it when you nod.
there's
so
a weird silence. It's me forgetting to say something. I'll do better.
That's fair. Could you tell me about a time that you felt unsuitable?
Yes, I can definitely tell you about a time that I felt unsuitable. There are two moments that come to mind particularly. Sometimes I feel unsuitable just in day-to-day life of just being like, who put me in charge of things? But then, the moment passes and I feel better about myself. But one time in particular was I started a new job about 4 months ago.
Okay.
And we had training for about a week and a half, 2 weeks. And then I was on a project and I was asked to do certain things or confirm certain things. And I was like, are you sure? Should I? I don't know if I'm qualified to do this.
Should I have the final say on this?
I was like, I haven't really gotten a full paycheck yet. I don't know if my contract is kicked in. I don't know. But obviously I had to do it because it was my job. And I did it, and it was fine. Nothing happened that wasn't supposed to happen.
That's good.
Yeah, it was good. And I felt not unsuitable, and I felt very suited for the job.
Is.
Yep, there it is.
A little wordplay.
You're welcome for that one.
I love it.
But a not so recent time that I felt unsuitable, but one that has stuck with me, was that I rushed a sorority when I was in college, and I waited till my sophomore year, because I went to the University of South Carolina, and you can rush your freshman year, which seems like a lot. I did not do that, obviously, and I didn't know what to expect going into sorority recruitment, and for anyone that has never experienced sorority recruitment on either side, it is exhausting, and you go to, at least this is how it was at USC, is you go to a sorority house and the doors open and it's just hundreds of college girls cheering and doing a cheer for whatever sorority it is. And then you have 5 minutes to try to yell and talk and have a conversation. And everybody's makeup looked better than mine, and everyone looked more fashionable than I was. And I was just like, this is a mistake. Why did I do this? Who let me in here? I was an emo kid growing up. I was like, I don't ever wear the color pink. What's going on? But it ended up working out for the best, and I stuck through recruitment.
Yeah.
And I was in a sorority throughout the next 3 years of college. Which ended up being one of the best decisions that I made in college.
So you kind of grew into it.
I did, yeah.
The first, what you were describing sounds like speed dating, but 5 million times more intimidating.
It's exactly that. It's speed dating, but on crack.
Yeah.
And not relationship driven at the end, but
right.
Yeah.
Just kind of give us a sense of who you are in 5 seconds.
Yeah, it's like an elevator pitch, but before you even are supposed to have an elevator pitch because you're in college.
Because you're 18, 19.
Yeah.
An actual child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fake adult.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What sorority did you pledge?
I was in Gamma Phi Beta. Well, I shouldn't say was in, because the whole thing is it's not 4 years, it's for life.
Yeah.
I am a Gamma Phi Beta.
Yep.
And I loved it. It was good. It was better than good. It was great. My mom didn't really understand why I wanted to do it because she wasn't in a sorority, but, and the whole thing kind of confused her, but it was good, and I managed to sway her that it was worth it.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad was in a fraternity when he was in college, so he was a bit more understanding.
Understood, yeah.
Yeah. Clearly, they were very different experiences when my dad went to college versus me going to college.
Right.
But,
and then sororities versus fraternities, too, would be a whole different.
I would be unsuitable for a fraternity.
Sure. Missing a couple elements.
Yeah. Some major things you would need.
Yeah, right, for fraternity life. What was it about the sorority that you liked so much? I mean, it's such a great experience.
Yeah. I mean, it was just clearly the people. Like, we were all similar in some aspects, but at the end of the day, also very different, and we all had different strengths and skills. And there was a couple hundred of us.
Okay.
So it's
total, or like in your pledge class?
There's like 100 in my pledge class, and then there was always like at least 210 people around, and I don't really remember numbers.
Okay.
But yeah, a couple hundred people.
Okay.
Any given time.
Yeah.
But everyone was not only involved in the sorority, but also just very passionate about being involved in campus life and the betterment of other people. And our philanthropy was building strong girls, and that was our motto. And our philanthropy was Girls on the Run, which is an after-school program for elementary school kids, which I never got a chance to volunteer with that after-school program. I just kind of donated when we ever had philanthropy events. But the whole idea is that we are strong women building strong girls. Our whole philanthropy was building strong girls, and how we were strong women building strong girls, and the idea of empowerment, and how that's such a important foundation to do anything else. Like, it's kind of like, how can you better someone or change the world if you don't feel good about yourself? So I like that message. Yeah. It really resonated. And I could see it reflected in all of my other sorority sisters. So it was good. I liked it.
Yeah. How old were you might have already said this, but how old were the girls that you were working with? Was it a particular phase in life that you were focusing on?
I think it was 5th graders.
Okay.
I had some friends who were coaches. The whole idea is that you're with them throughout, like once a week after school. And then at the end of the semester, you run a 5K.
Okay.
And you're supposed to like practice your running and also practice standing up to bullies and those kind of things.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I think it was like 4th through 5th graders, something like that.
Yeah. That would be a really good age.
Yeah.
For that.
It's a good time to like
pre-middle school.
Yeah. Start kicking good habits.
Yeah.
Ugh, middle school sucks.
Yeah. I have a couple of friends who are middle school teachers, and they're just like, I think that they're the best humans on the earth.
Brave souls.
I mean, I think about myself in middle school. I was so awful. So awful.
Did you see the movie 8th Grade that came out this year?
No, I did not.
Well, that's your homework assignment after this.
Immediately going to go watch 8th Grade.
I bought it on iTunes. We can just watch it here.
Oh, okay. Great.
Yeah.
So when you were in college, you work in film now. Is that where you got into film and production?
A little bit. I always knew that I wanted to work in the entertainment industry. My granddad was a radio personality in the DC area, pretty well known. And he was always playing like old time radio shows and doing like funny bits. And so we would listen to that when I was growing up. And that's when I kind of realized how important comedy was to me. And then in high school, I got really into SNL and watching just like stand up and just comedy in general. And I thought that I was going to be a talent agent when I graduated college.
Okay.
Because in college, I took that desire of entertainment and I channeled it into the programming board. And so I spent a year booking events for campus and then overseeing the events for campus. And then none of those contacts paid out or paid off when I got to New York. But it worked out. I don't know if it's for the better yet, but it worked out. And I fell into TV production.
Okay.
And I was in the art department as a PA. Realized I did not like the art department, but then I got into casting, and so I'm in background casting now.
So cool.
Yeah, which is an adventure sometimes, weekly, but cool. Yeah. There's a lot of personalities that you deal with. That's the biggest challenge probably, but good stories and like good experience. And it's nice to have an office for the first time really in a while. I was kind of working remotely, freelance-ish. So now I have an office with coworkers, and it's a lot better. Yeah. And I'm friends with them, and that's nice.
Yeah. So do you have like big casting calls that you oversee and stuff like that? I'm not sure how it works for background actors, to be honest, which I probably should have a better idea of, but in my defense, I was more theater.
Yeah, I mean,
film.
I don't think it's common knowledge, so I don't think you should beat yourself up on that aspect. We don't really do full casting calls. We have sometimes if we need a lot of people and we're in a weird remote location. But it's a lot of just looking at pictures and online and asking people to text or email photos. Okay. It's not always a lot of actual acting experience needed for background. Sometimes there is. But sometimes you're just walking down the street, and so you just don't do a weird dance. Like, you just gotta walk normal.
Right. It seems like for those situations, maybe like less personality is more.
Definitely sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, you're not trying to get people who are trying to make it their moment in the spotlight.
Exactly.
Like their 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Walking down the street. That's their big.
Yeah. Because you can't have somebody like go up and like try to be buddy with the principal actor either, who's like potentially a very big A-list name and like.
Oh, you mean like off, like when the camera's not rolling?
Either or, yeah. We actually just had a problem today. He wasn't rude to like the principal actor, but he was rude to other background actors, and he will not be coming back.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You would think.
So.
I don't know. That seems like something that if you are, because there are people who are background actors. That's like what they do.
Yeah.
So you would think they would.
You would think that people have common sense, but like every day we learn that that's a bad idea. Like,
you cannot assume that.
People don't have common sense.
No, they don't. And I found that I recently moved into a new apartment.
Woo!
And yes, it was. Did not know if I was going to have a place to live when my lease was up, but I do. And there were so many things. I worked with like a few different brokers and agents with places that fell through, and there were so many things that I was like, I should not have to be repeating this information 12 times. If you're supposed to be, like, for a broker, they're working for you, right? And so they're supposed to be advocating for you on your behalf. I shouldn't have to tell them my move-in date 12 times in order for them to remember it. Right?
It's so exhausting sometimes just to be like, wait, what? Shouldn't you do your job? This is not my job.
No, that's why I'm supposedly going to give you money at the end of this.
Yeah.
Anyways, I didn't give them money.
Hey, way to be.
I went with a different broker. So are you still really into comedy?
I am. Yes, I haven't acted on that liking as much as I wanted to, I don't think.
What would that look like? Acting on your liking of comedy. I mean, like, going to comedy shows.
Yeah, I mean,
doing comedy.
I do wish I do wish that I could see more shows. Sometimes it's just a matter of being exhausted after working.
Sure.
And getting home too late.
Sure.
And also, like, I'm only now this year getting more comfortable going to shows and stuff by myself. I went to a movie for the first time by myself this year, and I was like, this is a game changer.
Congratulations. It's amazing.
Thank you. Yes, this is amazing. I brought like a snack in. I didn't have to worry about where I was going to sit.
Oh my gosh.
I just did it.
And then like, it's not like you're talking to the person that you're with anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
No.
Continue.
You're right. I did. Yeah, it's good. But I wish I went to more like comedy shows, and those are a little bit like more you kind of wish you had someone with you.
Yeah.
To like share jokes, or like I'm a very physical laugher, if that makes sense. I like will bend over when I find something hilarious, or like to like slap someone's arm if I find something funny.
You're an aggressive laugher.
I guess, yeah. It's just,
like that.
it affects my whole body in person. But we could get better at that. I did give myself a goal at the end of the year of 2018 to try to do stand-up. I have not done it.
It is fast approaching.
Okay. Yep, thank you.
I mean, no shame if you don't get to it. I'm not trying to like judge you here. I'm just saying, if you do want to do it, the time is now.
I like that you were saying you aren't judging me, but you were staring me down and pointing at me right now.
I was.
As this conversation's happening. I have written stuff and I perform it in the shower, but I haven't performed it on a stage yet.
Okay. Well, that's a step, actually having material.
Yeah. I think that's an important step that maybe some people forget. But
just go up and wing it like the marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Yes, what I should do. Yeah, that was, oh boy, can you imagine? I wouldn't put it past me actually to just accidentally have a couple drinks and just wander onto a stage, but I wouldn't recommend it either.
Yeah.
This year though, I did a work study at an improv theater down in Murray Hill-ish area called The Pit. And basically I just like work box office shifts and like clean up people's drinks at the end of shows, and I can take discounted classes. Okay. So I will be taking an improv class next year, which is exciting. Yay. Yeah, it's officially happening. So we'll see. I think I prefer stand-up to improv when it comes to comedy, but it'll be a good exercise anyway to just be surrounded by people with the same goal of make them laugh. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you been able to see SNL, like a taping?
No.
I haven't either.
No. I went to Late Night with Seth Meyers when I first moved to the city. I got tickets for that, and he like went live for the first time when I went, because it was right after the Republican National Convention, which lasted 7 hours longer than it should have. Yeah. And so we were like stuck at 30 Rock till like 2 a.m.
Oh my gosh.
But it was great. They like had a warm-up comedian beforehand to make sure everybody's loose, and like do trivia questions or whatever, and like throw t-shirts into the crowd. And
that's exciting. I
got a t-shirt, and I think it was for the person behind me, but whatever, my arm was up.
Right. Snooze, you lose. Yeah. I think that's how it works, though, with, like, T-shirt cannons. It's like, exactly. It's a free-for-all. Yeah. It's not for anyone.
Yeah. It's
whatever.
You gotta be athletic.
Right. You gotta want it. You gotta want the T-shirt.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, in college, which I guess we're kind of backtracking a little bit in your timeline, was most of your community in the sorority, or were you also active in like church community as well? I
would say a lot of my community came from the sorority and from the programming board, and I kind of struggled to find a church when I was in college. Freshman and sophomore year were 2 years where I told myself that I needed to find a church, otherwise I would get very caught up in other things. But I knew that I needed to find a church to find that ground and that community. And I was in a Bible study with girls who were on my floor freshman year, but outside of loving Jesus, we didn't have a lot in common. Okay. And it was just very awkward, and I was like, I'm a bit too extroverted for this group, to be honest. Yeah. Which doesn't sound very loving now that I say that out loud, but at the time, as freshman year of college, like you need something better. Right. When you're trying to figure out what the heck is going on. Right. And you probably feel like you gotta like
meet as many people as possible.
Yeah, it was like, there's all this pressure to find friends, and I was like, are these the friends that I want? I don't know if these are the friends that I want. And my brother went to USC also, and he went to one church that was very similar to the church we had growing up. And I went there a couple times, but I didn't love it. It was nice to go to, but I was kind of like, this is a little stuffy. And it wasn't until junior year, halfway through college, I found a church called Midtown. This is a non-denominational church. And I got involved in what they call a life group.
Community group, Bible study.
Yeah, they called it a life group. It was just a community group. And I had friends from there. And one of my best friends in that group, I will be in her wedding next year.
Aw.
Which is very exciting.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's been a little hard because all of them kind of stayed in Columbia, South Carolina after I graduated, and like some of them graduated. So I'm the only one that's not there anymore. So it's a little hard to like watch things unfold on social media and know that I'm like not there to witness it. Just kind of hear about it later. But a lot of them I still keep in touch with and have that community. Which is nice because those 2 years, I don't want to mess this up. The 2 years where I didn't have a church were also 2 years where I was really questioning if faith was something that I truly believed in, or if it was more something I was doing out of tradition and out of love for my parents and respect for my parents. And I really didn't know if I was like fully on board with this whole Jesus thing, and the whole idea of faith, and the whole idea of, like, it felt like it was just a bunch of rules still, and I had a different grasp on like evangelizing and how to be a Christian friend to like non-Christians, but I like sophomore year I went a little wild. I got into a little bit of trouble with the university. And it wasn't like a rock bottom situation, but it was just a little bit extremely out of my comfort zone and out of like anything I'd ever done, because I've always been a very goody two shoes. And it was that weekend where I was like, okay, like what am I living for? Like what do I really think happens throughout life? Like, what's the point of life? What are we here for? Who's in charge? All like these questions. And I came to the conclusion that I do believe in Jesus and God and a savior, and the need for a savior. So much the need for a savior. And it just really kind of took control of my walk with Christ again. Which was nice, and then made it easier when I came to New York to really buckle down and find a community in New York, and find that Christian community, because it's even more important, I think, in this city than in college, because college is just 4 years, but New York it can be dark. Yeah. Just rediscovered my walk and path and was like, yep, I truly believe in the Bible and in all of this, and in grace and mercy, which is the most important part about it. Yeah.
So you grew up in the church?
I did, yes. I grew up in a Presbyterian church. My grandparents and my parents they both got married in the church. My grandparents were like the first couple to like have their wedding ceremony like in the physical church, because they moved buildings. But yes, very much, the church was very much a part of growing up in my childhood and everything. I think that's probably part of why when I went to college, I was exposed to new things, and I was like, whoa, what?
There are different things.
Yeah, exactly. Like I went to public school, and I didn't like grow up in like the most enclosed Christian bubble. But it was very much eye-opening when I went to college, and I was like, oh, other things.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of how it is for everyone. I don't know, unless you're in extraordinarily open, like, family. I don't know if that's not the way to phrase that, but I mean, I don't know. It's just a different level of freedom than you're used to.
Yeah.
I think. And, I mean, for me, I don't know. I've never really had the inclination to go outside of that goody two shoes thing, but I know, like, I don't know, for a lot of people, it's I'm just like so introverted that I could just stay in my room and watch TV and read a book all the time, and I would be so happy.
Yeah, sometimes I wish I was like that.
It's pros and cons. Pros and cons for both.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah. Could you tell me about a significant relation or meaningful relationship from your past or present?
Yeah. One that's from my past and current present is
as opposed to your alternative present.
Yeah, I suppose like another timeline that I'm in.
Right.
Yeah, my virtual reality timeline. Yes. Like how far away are we from that being the future of just like having a second life online? It's like that's what The Sims is.
Right.
Okay, that's not.
We're in the Matrix. Let's take a turn.
My relationship is not The Sims characters that I've created. A great relationship that I have. I mean, I have been blessed to have great people in my life, friend-wise, but my relationship with my mom has grown immensely the past few years. And like clearly, like, you know, she's my mom. Grew up with her, known her my whole life. But the past few years, I lost both my grandparents, which were my mom's parents. And that's already hard. And like your early 20s are hard. And then like death is hard. And my grandmother, the past few years that she was around, was a little bit of a different grandmother than I knew growing up. So like that was a weird thing. And then like my grandfather was the reason I want to do what I want to do with my life. So that was hard. But even harder was realizing how human your parents are in your early 20s. And it's like, oh, they are human. And so it's been challenging, but in a good way, to go through this with my mom, and just be able to be someone who's able to tell her that it's okay to be vulnerable, and that she doesn't always have to be strong. So it's been good, and I think that we are closer. And it's not like I was ever really keeping secrets from her, but it just feels like we can have better conversations about all the topics, which is nice. And I would consider my mom one of my best friends. If she ever listens to this.
You can send it to her.
Yeah, she'll probably want to hear it. Yeah, I mean, I'm close with my entire family, but it's a special bond with my mom. I have one older brother, and he and I got closer when I went to college also.
How much older?
He's 5 years older.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you weren't there at the same time?
No, but he still lived in Columbia when I was there for college for a couple of years.
Okay.
So that was nice. We got to hang out when I was in college. And he and I think alike sometimes, like on scary ways of like finishing each other's sentences.
Yeah.
Or like he'll like won't remember a movie or like a reference or something, and he'll make the most random like example of what he's trying to talk about, and I'll figure out what he's trying to talk about, and it's like, oh, it's like we spent too much time together. But yeah, it's interesting. I was just talking about the relationship with siblings in my community group last night, because all of us have siblings, and it was just funny to like bond over how siblings can be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you have siblings, right?
Yeah. I have an older brother, and I have a much older half sister. Sorry if she's listening to this, but it is accurate. She's a half sister, and so she's from previous marriage of my dad's. So she was not like in the house with us growing up. She was already 21 when I was born. So like almost out of college, probably. So I mean, that's been a cool thing though, because she and I have gotten a lot closer. I mean, since I've become an actual person, grown up, and which has been really cool. She's you should look her up. She's an amazing photographer. I mean, you should look her up, but also anyone who's listening should look her up. She does all of my pictures.
Nice.
It's ellenleroyphotography.com.
Okay.
Yeah, she's really amazing. She's really intelligent, and she like the level of intelligent where she was like gonna go to medical school, but then she decided to be a teacher, and then when she had kids, she was like, oh, I want to like do something where I can be at home with my kids, but I still want to work, so I'll just like become a photographer. Wow. And now she's like nationally has won like national awards. Like wrote an article for Professional Photographer magazine, and
I didn't even know that was a magazine.
It is a magazine.
That's the actual name of the magazine. Well,
I think.
Okay, we'll say yeah.
I think it is.
This magazine's for everything nowadays.
Yeah, and she's like a believer, and so it's just she's a really cool person to talk to.
Nice.
But I don't know that we have that affinity that you and your brother have, because
wavelength of making the same inappropriate joke at the dinner table. That's fine.
I don't know though. There have been moments, because we didn't really have that because we didn't grow up in the same house. But there have been moments over the years where I'm like, oh yeah, we're related.
Yeah.
Because she's like, just, I mean, I don't know, little things. She gets like she's really into efficiency. I am as well. Mm-hmm. And so she'll just like make these little comments about things that are inefficient or something like that. Or even like sleeping habits, where she's like, I would be so happy if I could just sleep until 9 every day. If I have to get up before 9, it's like so hard. And I was like, yes, me too. Which is so funny, because my dad is the opposite. He gets up at like 5 something every day. I guess it's a thing in the females on that side of the family, not the males. Because my grandmother was similar to me and my sister.
Yeah. But, beauty rest.
Yeah.
You gotta have your beauty rest.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. I don't know. He just likes to get up and get going. Why don't you tell me one thing that's hard and one thing that's great?
Get the bad out of the way first. If you want to do that.
No, I mean, it doesn't have to be bad, just hard, challenging.
Yeah, I guess, okay. Hard doesn't have to be bad, I guess. Usually it is. I think one thing that's hard is there are so many people that I love who don't live in New York. Like, a lot of my good friends are in other states. And like my immediate family, my parents and my brother are in the DC area. And so I think that a lot of this is social media's fault, but it's very hard sometimes to like see them doing things or like see friends hanging out without me. FOMO. It's not like, it's not like they could have invited me. I couldn't just hop on a plane. Right. But like, it's like, oh.
But it would have been nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thought that counts. Especially like certain friends who are just like, they know each other through me, and it's like, oh, like I can't help but selfishly be like upset that I'm not there.
Right. I'm the reason you know each other.
Yeah. Exactly. And like it's just hard to be away from family also, and they're only 4 hours away, but especially with all the madness that the holidays is.
Yeah.
Or the holidays are. I'm not a writer, so I don't know if that was the correct grammar.
And we're just
I spoke.
It's audio. We're just gonna go with it. Yeah.
So that's hard. It's been harder in the past few weeks for some reason. But I'll see some people soon, which will be nice, I think. But one thing that's good is something that I kind of talked about at the top of the podcast, was that I did start a new job recently. Yeah. And for the past 2 years, I have been in film at assistant level. And it's kind of been freelance in a sense that a project will be a few months and then you have to figure out what you're going to do next. But now I have a salary and I have an office with coworkers that I go to every day.
Nice.
And I don't know what the next project will be after this one, but I know that I'll just be able to hang out for a little bit and then something will come along to the office and it'll be good. So it's very nice just to be able to breathe a little bit better in this environment. So that's something that's great.
Yay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah.
And thanks for having me in your apartment.
Thanks for chatting.
It's lovely.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening. Check back in a couple weeks for the next episode. If you know someone who you would love to hear on this podcast, please drop me a line. Head over to my website, marybsafrit.com. Head over to the Contact Me page and send me a message. I'd love to hear from you. Huge shout out to my sound guy, Chad, who does all of my editing and also wrote my theme music for making me sound amazing every single episode. That's all for now. I'll see y'all next time.